Ready, Garrett?
Yes, do it, sir.
Well, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Week 8 recap show, the late night edition of high school football talk with myself and Mr. Gary Swallow. We are live from Opelousas, Louisiana, home of Gary Swallow's Taekwondo martial arts building here, exactly where we're broadcasting from. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Under the Lights. Welcome to the late night edition of the recap show. We thank you for staying up late with us tonight to talk some high school football. And boy, let me tell you, you look at some of these scores from around the states. He's got some wows, I got some woes, and we got some hellified things to talk about. We got helmet stickers to give out.
Right.
We got games of the night to give out.
Right.
We got upsets of the night. And ladies and gentlemen, how about UTL statement wins of the night? Also, we look ahead to Week 9. Some of these matchups that stick out for Week 9, you don't want to miss who's playing who next week. I got scores from around the state of Louisiana from the games that we picked Wednesday night. And also, I wrote down some games that you just say, holy cow, what a week in high school football.
Right, and it was all across the state, Jordy.
Ladies and gentlemen, broadcast colleague, my partner, Mr. Gary Swallow, check in.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Great Thursday and Friday night. I'm excited to give you some scores and talk about some high school football. We had some great games, some athletes that really showed up today. I can't wait to share them with you.
Moving along with what we witnessed tonight, Mr. Swallow.
We witnessed history tonight at Donald Gardner Stadium, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But, man, great game, great atmosphere for us. First time we got a chance to witness OHS play with a packed house. Last time we were there, it was kind of light. It was kind of like the COVID stuff, kind of bad weather. Tonight was a great atmosphere.
Yeah, but you started to wonder a little bit. Where's everyone at? It was pushing 6:30, and Cecilia had a packed bleachers. OHS still not there.
Right.
And come to find out, 6:50, they poured
in. They were there.
They poured in, and they really got behind their team when they needed it most in the fourth quarter.
Right. It was a very exciting atmosphere. Game was close. Could have went either way, but whenever we get to the score, we'll talk about the pros and cons of it. But it was a great ball game.
Yes.
Great ball game.
That is for sure. Gary Swallow, initial thoughts of Week 8 right now that you're looking at some of these things here. What sticks out to you the most?
Well, I'm going to tell you, what gets me, though, is you had some upsets. You had some dominating performances like we do every week. But it's like you had some quality ball clubs going against each other, high scoring in some, nail biters in others. All I can say is it's high school football at its best, and it keeps getting better as it gets towards the end of the season, towards the playoffs.
You either turn it on at this point of the season, or you get left behind. Right,
and it was the scores that we're going to go over are going to tell you a lot of that. But man, there's a lot of high school football that's quality. That's a lot of quality high school football being played now at this time of the season. And, man, I can't wait. Although I don't want it to end, but, man, come playoff time, it's going to be awesome.
Not everyone has that opportunity to say they made it to Week 11. So we are coming down to the very end. If those seniors are playing their very last few downs, you better enjoy it because when you blink your eyes, it's gone like that.
Right,
Season flew by for Under the Lights for sure.
We talk about this every year. Not every player in high school is going to go to college and play at the next level or even semi-pro or things like that. So enjoy your time on the field. Enjoy that camaraderie. There's nothing like it.
And those that are still in the running, go and live it up as much as you can and go make a run for that state title.
Right. You're right. I think it's going to be it's going to be an exciting playoff. With this new format, I'm going to tell you right now, there's not going to be any bad games. There's going to be only exciting games throughout the playoffs. So I'm excited to see how this new format's going to come together. But you got to play. You got some teams on the bubble. You got some teams that are not. You got some teams that are way ahead. Sometimes some that are a little below that's trying to make it. This is the time to play.
And you think about it, Wednesday night we talked about teams have to get going where before they miss out on a slot of the playoffs, they had to do their job by winning this week. And we've seen a handful of teams take care of business and win this week.
Most definitely. I was impressed with a lot of the scores and a lot of the teams that came out. It's going to be interesting. They're starting to realize the severity of the win and a loss, and I think that it's only going to get better. Man, week 9 and week 10, God, it's going to be exciting.
It's going to be hold your breath until those rankings come out that morning.
Oh, right. I think after week 10, the next day when they come out with the rankings, that's going to determine who's in the playoffs.
And then also determines who's going to have a first round
bye and who has to play what. You might have, oh man.
So those teams that are comfortable into the playoffs, now they got to see if they're in that top 4 or if they're in that top 8.
Right, because that bye will be very important for a lot of these teams to get even healthier, get that extra time off to get everything polished out, get some
then they can back. Game plan for 2 teams for 2 weeks.
Then go for it, yes. That's going to be awesome.
Getting healthy at the right time, and you want to be playing your best football late into the regular season, going into the playoffs, Gary.
Right. You're 100% right on that.
If you're playing your best football in the beginning of the year and it slows down halfway through, that's not a good recipe for success.
You're right. The key thing is you got to be consistent all the way through, and you can't have a roller coaster. It has to be consistently getting better. And this time of the year, right now, between now and the end of week 10, the next 2 weeks, that's going to determine some people's fate. And I'd hate to be up here and then after week 10 be down here. Right. That's going to be hard on some people, but it's going to happen.
Right. How about some scores from around the state with games we did not cover this week?
Right.
But they just so interesting where we wanted to share it tonight.
Right. They had some good ones.
Congratulations to Coach James Dortez and all of his coaching staff there at Bolton High School. Big win for the Bolton Bears tonight. They get it done. 29-18 over Marksfield. That was a bubble team, Gary.
Right.
They took care of business tonight. So check one.
Coaches, from Opelousas and coaching at Bolton. And I'm gonna tell you right now, that was the first thing we talked about. A lot of things whenever he was here as a guest picker, and we kind of went ahead. And the most important thing is he said is that you got to take care of business 1 week at a time. And they did today. They checked that off. They took care of business tonight.
How about some really good games from around the state that we didn't get a chance to cover on Wednesday night? St. Thomas Aquinas beats North Lake Christian 30-28.
Wow. Talk about 2 good ball clubs. Very good.
Dale High squeaks one past Delta Charter 40-38, Gary.
Man, that must have been some offensive firepower there, huh?
East Iberville, close victory over Ascension Christian, 36-33.
Oh my God! Last second field goal, maybe.
Maybe so.
We're not sure.
Check out some details.
Oh man, but that's
Gary, it does not stop. How about Captain Shreve edging out Southwood tonight, 29-26?
Oh my good! Captain Shreve has always been one of my teams that I've been keeping my eye on, and they're playing some good ball. That must have been an exciting ball game too.
How about 2 good 5A teams? going down to the wire tonight, Catholic of B.R. survives a scare from Woodlawn of Baton Rouge, 30-28.
When you have rivals, guess what? They play hard. And, you know, Catholic of Baton Rouge has always been one of our teams that we watch. Quality, high quality, potent offense and defense, good ball club. But, you know, Woodlawn was, had their mark a little bit today. So congratulations to Catholic for coming out on top.
Salmon takes down Franklinton, but it was not easy.
Wow.
37-35 victory. A lot of close games around the state of Louisiana.
Man, we getting these scores that was there a safety involved, or was there a lot of missed extra points or whatever, or a lot of field goals. Hopefully, like we were talking earlier today, hopefully these guys are going to start getting their special teams working and everything like that. Defense is really going at it. So, a lot of good scores. I like that.
Next up, congratulations to head football coach Harry Coleman down there at Peabody. Big win tonight over Grant. Shootout, 48-44. The Warhorses get it done.
That was great. I tell you what. I didn't get a chance to be there. You were there at one of their games out there that was a shootout, and I'm gonna tell you something. Those boys can play.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then you had John Ehret with a 5-point win over Chalmette tonight, 32-28.
That's actually an awesome ball club too.
33-28. Yeah.
John Ehret has always been a very good. That's part of that crew that's in New Orleans. That area. Man, how they create and get so much talent out of one city. It's amazing. All of those schools in the New Orleans area, and they have so much talent out there, and they're all competitive. They're all in the running for state championships year after year.
Yes.
Amazing.
Last two from around the state that we did not cover on Wednesday night. How about Rummel and Brother Morton, Gary?
That is two quality ball clubs. Two very high quality ball clubs.
Defense, special teams.
Correct.
What's your old saying about special teams?
Sometimes the special teams have to be special.
Special teams was special
in order
tonight.
to win.
Final score, Rummel 3, Brother Morton 0.
Really?
A field goal is the decider. Rummel takes down Brother Morton 3-0.
I'm just gassed that,
Soccer score.
Yeah, right. But they were also able to hold them scoreless.
Mm-hmm.
You talking about holding Brother Morton? We've seen Brother Morton play. They're a good quality ball club. To hold them scoreless is amazing.
Next up, final one from around the state goes to, and it might have been a record breaker tonight, of points scored in a game. I
Pretty close
don't
to
know
it.
what the exact record is, but hats off to these two teams. Benton and Hawkton had a basketball game tonight, Gary.
They sure did. We were kind of, during the game we were calling, we were kind of listening to that score, and it kept on getting higher and higher and higher. And we were just like going, that can't be right.
Somebody
but it was.
had an error in the system.
Yeah.
It was 71-71 when we
were listening to you.
But how about Benton taking down Hawkton tonight, 78-71. That Benton offense has put up huge numbers so far this season.
Right.
And Hawkton and Benton, a classic tonight.
That had to be a classic. Whoever has the ball last probably won. And, the way that score was. But so, hey, all I can say is congratulations to these guys. We didn't cover them on Wednesday, but that just tells you that there's a lot of quality players and schools in this state, and those scores right there showed you that.
Exactly. Some outstanding games around the state. Congratulations to those teams from around the state having outstanding football games tonight. So
That's pretty close to the point.
So Zach Guidry from Gaydon High School hit the 1,000-yard passing yard mark tonight. Congratulations to Zach Guidry, quarterback for Gaydon Bears, on a huge milestone right there.
That is a great milestone for for a young man, and I'm gonna tell you that's something that you can be proud of. That's gonna be there forever. You can always say that you're part of the 1,000-yard club.
Correct.
So that's great.
Coach Isaac says 90 to 60 is the record. Northwood and Montgomery back in 2019. I ain't never seen somebody put 90 points up in a football game.
Me neither. No, I've seen in the 70s, but I've never seen in the 80s or 90s. I've never seen that, and that had to be you talk about track meets. I bet you that was one of them, back and forth.
Ooh, yeah, I heard Coach Isaac was actually running the chains that night, so he probably had some sore calves after that one.
Most probably. Wow.
All right, how about some Thursday night scores from this week that we covered? It starts out with rain headed down to winless Washington Marion. You knew Washington Marion could score points, but could they slow down this Wolf run game, Gary? The answer would be no.
No.
Big win for the Wolves on the road, 49 to 20. Rain improves to 4-4 on the season.
You're right. Washington Marion's really struggling on defense, stopping people, but they're scoring a little bit of points. But man, Rain was hitting on all cylinders last night, and they went down and took care of business.
Next up, actually the game we got to cover on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
South Beauregard and Kinder, a couple of 1-6 teams,
Right.
needing a desperate win to get into that playoff cover on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
South Beauregard and Kinder, a couple of 1-6
Yeah.
teams.
Right.
I can hear us. Anybody else can hear us?
Yeah. Hopefully everybody else can hear us. We're catching it here. Might want to just check. But yeah, South Bow and Kinder. Those two teams needed a win.
Yeah, when your backs are against the wall and it's crunch time, Gary, and you say, okay, when your back's against the wall and it's crunch time and you say it's do or die.
Yeah. In this season, in this instance, it was do or die.
So you get down to the point of, all right, it's win or go home, or playoff faith lies these next 3 weeks.
Right.
So one of these two teams would still be in the race because only 28 getting in this year. If it was 32, one of these teams would just squeak in without win or lose this one.
Right.
But now you got to go earn your way back into the contention.
You're right.
And it started on Thursday night. And let's just say, Mr. Swallow, the Yellow Jackets showed up and they made things happen for 4 quarters. Jordan Pelican, 3 touchdowns on the night.
Right.
Noah Romero ran free majority of the night. And when Graham Fawcett got into open space, boy, is that kid special whenever he takes off running with the football.
You're right. And I got a chance. I couldn't be there, but I got a chance to watch it from the stream, and I'm gonna tell you that was an enjoyable ball game.
So Kinder gets that critical second win of the season, staying in the contention to potentially grab a top 28 spot. We're gonna have to see how those rankings play out.
Right.
We should find out tomorrow morning what the new rankings look like, but they still got life.
They're moving up. They still got life.
Still got life.
Still got business to be taken care of, but they still got life.
Yep. 34-0 final score. Yellow Jackets at home. I see our buddy Ross Cortez in the chat tonight. congratulations to Ross Cortez. He made our headlines of next week.
Right.
First ever career field goal. You got two guys right here really proud of you, Ross.
Yes, most
Keep
definitely.
up the hard work. Great things are in store for you. We can't wait to see what's in line for the rest of the season and the SoCon.
Right. Oh, most definitely. Yeah. Hopefully the first of many.
How about Livonia and Crawley? Gary, we were so convinced that Crawley would win this football game where the Wildcats just made us look dumb
They sure
on
did.
Wednesday night. Where they did this at Gent Stadium.
Yeah. The reason that I picked Crowley is I thought home field advantage would give him that little boost. Guess what? Livonia said no.
Livonia came in and takes down Crawley 30-15. Not many people seen this score going this way. A lot of people thought this would be opposite,
Right.
but that's why you play the game. Congratulations to the Livonia Wildcats' big-time road victory. One of those other teams fighting for a playoff spot. So you got to think to yourself, Gary, can Livonia get in? Can Livonia get in with big wins like this?
Yes. Livonia, if they do this a couple more times, they'll get in the playoffs. They have to win the next two games.
It won't be easy.
No, God, no. They got some tough ball games. The ball games ahead.
How about 2-5 South Lafourche headed down to Sulphur, Louisiana to take on the swag surfing Saints, taking on some Thursday night football this week. Gary, this was a 7-6 ball game at halftime.
Right.
We were scratching our heads saying, what's going on in Sulphur, Louisiana? Slow start for the Saints. Well, boy, did they turn it on in the second half in a big way.
They woke up. I think there was a little bit of discussion going on at halftime by that coach.
Talked to coach earlier today. He said we cannot start off slow next week.
Oh,
They got a big one
they got a
next
big
week.
one coming up next week. Yes.
So a huge second half for the Saints, and the Saints moved to 7-1 on the season. Final score: St. Louis 38, South Lafourche 6. I can't wait for that Iowa St. Louis district title game next week.
That is going to be awesome. That's all I can say. It's going to be awesome. We watched that team a couple times, and we've been keeping track on them. They are playing some really good football.
Possessed football.
Right, possessed.
2-5 Ville Platte headed down to undefeated football team, Gary,
Mm-hmm.
that is on a 29-game regular season win streak. Could they make it 30 Thursday night?
Mm-hmm.
Easily, right?
Easily. Oh, yes.
The three-headed monster back in full steam. Church Point battling Bears roll on Thursday night, 50-20. We know they lost everybody on defense,
Right.
but that offense is still here.
Oh, their offense is still hitting on all cylinders, Jordy. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Coach Arsenault told you, and he told me. He says he doesn't care how many points the defense gets, just as long as his offense scores one more. So, and I'm gonna tell you, they are playing that way.
They're going to be a good football team
They're gonna make a run.
going into the playoffs. But that Week 10 matchup with Iota for the district title,
That's gonna be one to watch.
at Iota, keep an eye out on it, folks. How about 3-4 East Beauregard at 3-4 Maryville? Gary, we talked Thursday night while we was on the live stream. Me and Jake, we said, East Bow, you want to date with Basil?
Yep.
You gotta go take care of business Thursday night.
Right.
You can't get to a district title game if you don't go take care of business Thursday night. Gary, they answered the call and they went take care of business Thursday night.
What was the score, Jordan?
Final score: East Bow 55, Maryville 32. It must have been the Hildreth show.
That must have been a great. That must have been just a great ball game because anytime you see both two teams put up over 30 points, that's a good high-paced ball game.
East Bow, you keep winning.
Yes.
Basil, you keep winning.
Let's have a good
And
clash.
for all the marbles,
That's right.
Week 10, live at East Bow. You don't want to miss that if it sets up.
That's going to be an awesome ball game.
Talking district championships, Gary, man.
Boy, it's
We're
that
here.
time of the year. We're there.
We're here. How about Ascension Episcopal in Lowerville? A team that just likes to burn this panel.
Every time we pick them, they lose, and every time we pick against them, they win. So
what would happen when
it kept going.
What would happen when we did not pick them on Wednesday night, Gary? Foolish of us to not go Ascension Episcopal when Lowerville had a big win last week.
Right.
To be shut out at home, no one seen this coming.
No, that surprised me. Not just the fact that they won, but they shut
They
out
can go win the
Lowerville.
game, but we didn't expect them to get shut out.
No, not against a Lowerville team. I mean, Lowerville is always, powerful enough to score points. Sometimes they get outscored, but not that often. But to shut them out, that is amazing right there.
24-0. The Blue Gators, a much needed win as the playoffs are right in the distance.
So they said we need to just keep picking against them.
Carroll, Franklin Parish, not sure if you've seen what happened after that game.
I did not.
It was a lot of stuff happened between, I believe, the coaches trying to leave the press box. So
Really?
you'll have to go watch the video on that one, Gary. I don't have all the details of what happened at the Carroll and Franklin Parish game, but something happened from in the crowd with the coaches leaving the press box. So we'll keep it at that.
That's a shame.
But Carroll, Franklin Parish, a good old matchup here, 6-0 versus 6-1. Carroll, too strong on the road for Franklin Parish, 29-6. Carroll, 7-0.
Right.
Somebody pay close attention to this Carroll football team. They're 7-0.
Yeah, don't underestimate Carroll. They have a good history of being good and making a run. So look out.
How about another good one on Thursday night? We had some really good ones on Thursday
You're
night
right,
for
yeah.
sure. Undefeated Hanson Memorial at 6-1 Central Catholic. Here's what we thought. This would be the best team they played all year.
Right.
Have they been tested through 7 weeks? That was the question mark. Gary, when they stepped on the field with Central Catholic, it was a rout from the start.
Right.
Central Catholic, we watched them. We watched them play Abbeville.
Right.
They came out with a hellified last-second win over there.
Right.
So you take that in consideration, and they've won ever since then.
Right.
They're on a winning streak here. And now they would welcome in an undefeated Hanson Memorial team. If you want to win a district title, that's step one.
You're right.
If you want to win a district title, step 2 is next week. But that ain't easy.
Yeah.
You know what step 2 is?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Right now they had to worry about, one team that was coming in with an unblemished record, and they took care of business.
Oh yeah.
They took care of business. They took step 1. They took care of it. Now they're ready for step 2.
But are they?
Well, we'll see.
I am excited about that matchup.
Mm-hmm.
That might be one of the better games in the state of Louisiana next week.
Yeah, that's gonna be a wild ball game.
Central Catholic, Vermilion Catholic
Right.
for the district title next week.
Right.
That has good 1A football written.
All over it. Right. But they had to go through Hanson Memorial tonight, and they did.
7-1 versus 8-0 next week for the district title.
Right.
Next up, how about 5-2 Avoyals against 4-3 Southern Lab? Gary, we said on Wednesday night we did not think Southern Lab had the same defensive line from last year where we just knew they were nasty in the trenches.
Right.
We knew Southern Lab were still good, but we did not know what they had up front. And it takes a special group of linebackers, a special group of defensive linemen to slow down an Avoyelles rushing attack. Gary, this wasn't even close.
No, they did it. I couldn't believe that when I heard the score. I was like, how can you stop that offense? Well, they did.
They did. They held Avoyelles to 14. I'm not sure if that's their season low this year,
it's got to be.
and maybe even last year.
Right.
It could be. Somebody might correct me in the chat. But how about the Kittens from Southern Lab? A statement home win on Thursday night, Gary.
Correct. And I'm going to tell you, they put up some points, which I figured they were. But when you hold Avoyelles to 14 points, that tells me that your defense is sound. And I want to congratulate Southern Lab. Well, I think it was, 35-14?
35-14.
35-14. That's a great performance by the Kittens. Congratulations. And, man, like I said, I just didn't see it coming.
How about game of the night from Thursday night? It went down to Warren Easton and Madison Prep. Two teams playing in different divisions.
Right.
But you just got to respect the way they play the game. Some good football from Warren Easton and Madison Prep. D1 athletes walking all over the sidelines.
Right, all over there.
And they had the opportunity to meet in week 8. Hats off to whoever made this game happen.
You don't see it, but now that with the new configuration of the power rankings and all that, you're going to start seeing these competitions during the regular season more. And this was great. This was
power rankings.
Oh, power rankings matter. You're right. So how'd this one turn out, Mr. Jordy?
Not exactly what we had in mind, Mr. Gary. A defensive effort here. Warren Easton holds Madison Prep to 14. Warren Easton with a 6-point victory, 20-14.
Wow.
We would think with both of these offenses that they would try to go break the scoreboard on point score that night.
40, 50 points each.
But when you have teams like this that can match up in the secondary with those receivers, then you see where the defenses on these two teams really, really shine.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, it's great to see these two teams playing against each other because that's going to get this experience here is going to give them that step that they may need for the playoffs.
Yes.
So I think that's awesome. 20 to 14?
20-14. Good game.
Good solid ball game
for Thursday night football for sure. Game of the night for Thursday night for sure.
Correct.
How about Friday nights? Our alma mater, Mr. Swallow, welcome in one of our favorite teams on this platform.
Right. Very good, solid ball club. Our alma mater. We're always going to love them. But they have had a chance to go. Actually, one of our favorite teams that we call had a chance to go down and play them, and it was a good little ball game for them.
This score was 10-6 going into halftime. That we know what type of team Basile is, Gary.
Right.
They're a second half team. They live it and breathe it all season long.
Mm-hmm.
Slow start, turn it on towards the end.
Correct.
So similar style here in week 8, where you hope that doesn't catch up to you in the playoffs.
Right.
Because there's other teams that you're going to meet down the road that are going to start really fast.
You're right.
You don't want to be playing catch up when you're in a big time playoff matchup.
Right.
So we will see. But 7-1 record after this week, going into week 9, as you welcome in Maryville.
Right.
Basile is feeling good over there in Bearcat country.
Right. And our alma mater, they're struggling this year. Very young ball club, very, very young ball club, and I'm just hoping that they get the experience, keep working hard. Good things are going to come.
And the Red Devils return this trip next year to Basile. So
They're going to go down to Basile.
Basile and put Barry at Hanson Field next year.
Right.
Have to keep that one on a close radar for potentially covering that one, Gary.
Might be able to go see that one. That's going to be a good one. But like I said, Basile a little too strong for the Red Devils this week.
And a big time field goal from Ross Cortez.
Right, Ross.
First one of his career.
That in itself is exciting. When you see a young man achieve his first at something. And unfortunately it was against our alma mater, but you know what? Kudos to that young man.
Yep.
He did a real good job.
And kudos to the 7-1 Basile Bearcats, a top 10 team in the rankings. Where will they be when we wake up tomorrow morning and see the rankings?
You're right. That's going to be interesting.
24-6 final score. Gary, we talked a little bit earlier about certain teams breaking the scoreboard because of points scored in a night. How about the night that number 10 from Oakdale Warriors put on tonight? What was it, 5 touchdowns in the first half? I'm not sure what that final stat line was, but when we heard that,
it was a bunch.
we said, holy cow, this man is playing probably his game of his life.
Right. Well, I'm going to tell you, we talked about it. One of my good friends and former students, Mikey, coaches at Oakdale, and he's the offensive guy. And I'm going to tell you, he told us whenever we saw him during the summer, whenever we went to, he said he had a guy that was going to run all over, and he was right.
He was right. He talked about number 10 at the coaching clinic, and boy, is he having himself a darn good year.
Yeah, and Mikey's got everything going over there. I'm so proud of him and all
Gary,
he's done.
it starts up front.
Oh, the line. Oh yeah, he's got to have his
up
line.
Front, Gary. The split back veer
has to have a line.
Is still damn good in high school football.
Oh man, you that's one of my favorite offenses. You can't tell me anything about that one that's going to make me detour from that. To me, the veer is one of the best offenses that you can teach high school, high school teams to master. And Mikey's doing a good job.
So if I told you that number 10 had 12 carries and 12 of those carries were for 5 touchdowns and 300 plus.
And that's from the ball. That's from the horse's mouth right there. And I'm not calling you a horse, Mikey, but that's from you.
Welcome to the headline part of the show next week.
That's awesome. That's awesome. When you see a young man like that, it makes you proud not only to get a chance to coach him, but also to be a part of all of what he's doing. I mean, that's great. That's just great. So what was the final there, Jordan?
Oakdale gets their 5th win of the season. Another top 10 team over there in the Division 4 playoff brackets. Final score, Oakdale 70-4. They hung 74 up there.
70 points, my God.
74-26 over Pickering. Congratulations to the Warriors. They are looking postseason ready.
You're right.
How about Delcom and West St. Mary? West St. Mary, a homecoming night for West St. Mary. They welcome in Delcom. Delcom searching for a win after a couple tough weeks these last few. They would get back on track this week. Big win for the Panthers, Gary. 47-14. Delcom moves to 5-3 on the season, and maybe this gets them back on track.
That gets them on track for that playoff run. Congratulations to Delcom, and I think, like I said, this is going to get them back on that little winning ways to where they might be able to make a run for the playoffs. TJ?
For OHS, a lot of those guys playing right now also played on that team last year that went to the first round of the playoffs and knocked off Southland Fusion the first round.
Correct. Yeah.
They went and played an eventual state runner-up in Warren Easton in the second round. So they have playoff experience.
Yeah. I think that's going to help them.
That's going to help. And also, they return a lot of seniors. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, a lot of returning starters. They return
Yeah.
a lot of returning starters, and they also got those 2 rounds
Yeah.
from the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And they just won a district title tonight, so you
Yeah.
know those guys
And
looking
that's
to
the
take the
thing.
next step.
We talked about that last year. Last year they lacked experience. This year, those young freshmen that they had and sophomores are now juniors and sophomores. So their experience is there. So, like I said, that team we watched tonight, there's a few things that they need to, beef up. We'll talk about that whenever we talk to them about their score. But they're experienced enough to where they can control and they can make a run.
Yes.
I think they can.
And these new brackets, these new playoff systems that came out, OHS got a real good shot to be playing in December.
Right, most definitely.
Yep. And then it's not like they played a cupcake non-district schedule.
No, they played some good ball clubs.
Yep.
Okay.
That would definitely get them battle tested.
Yes.
Northwest and Pine Prairie, ladies and gentlemen. If I told you Pine Prairie would get up for this game and give the Raiders all they could handle tonight, Pine Prairie had this lead late in this football game, Gary. And next thing we know, we had a new score update, and it was final. Northwest 36, Pine Prairie 33. Holy cow, what a game. Hats off to Pine Prairie for not giving up on the season and going out and play a game like this.
They played a very good Northwest team, and they played them down to the wire. And I'm sure Northwest was scratching and clawing to get back in there. And you got to congratulate Northwest for not giving up on the game, after they've been behind and coming back and winning. But you also got to say Pine Prairie, they pretty much said, hey, we're good too.
What that say about a coach in his program that it says, we know we're 0-7, but we're still going to go out every single week and play as hard as we can for 4 quarters.
All right, and that's what you got to get into the program, to where you got your players that are going to commit themselves to playing 4 quarters. I mean, if it's hard whenever you get down, by a lot of points or continuously lose, but if you're competitive, eventually those losses are going to turn to wins.
Yes.
And that's what you got to stick. You got to stick to the plan and keep working hard and believe. And if you believe, then the sky's the limit.
Chris, when do y'all play Breaux Bridge, and what implications does the Breaux Bridge game have on the district race? Or is the district title set in stone?
Well, they got at least a share.
Or could it still be a share somehow? The Cecilia B. Breaux Bridge. I just don't know how it.
If Breaux Bridge would happen to beat OHS, it would be a split.
Right.
Right.
And that's why I was wanting to know if it's outright or if it's claimed outright tonight, or is there still a chance to be a split in these next 2 weeks? That's my question. So if you win next week, you're outright.
Yeah.
If you lose, then it's a share.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought.
Okay. Gary Swallow, Breaux Bridge went down to Beauchamp tonight, and Breaux Bridge playing better as of late. Couple big wins, and they knocked off Kinder last week, and they had no problems with Beauchamp this week. 42-6 final score.
The Gators are struggling right now. They're really struggling. Got a lot of injuries.
Brobridge got a big one with OHS next week. They gonna have to bring it because you know OHS will.
I'm gonna tell you, if that OHS team that we watched tonight can, and we'll talk, can clean up a little bit of the penalties and stuff like that, and you know that's gonna happen because the coach is gonna get on him. He was on him pretty good today, so I think that's gonna be a iconic ball game.
Next up, Notre Dame Pios went down to DeQuincy for DeQuincy's homecoming, and the Pios flexed their muscles and shut out DeQuincy tonight, 49-0. Notre Dame,
Man,
Welsh. It's coming, Gary.
right.
It's not far out.
The Greyhounds and the Pios.
District championship between the Greyhounds and Pios. I can't wait for that one.
That's gonna be awesome.
Grand Lake went down to Vinton tonight. No troubles there. 40-6. Grand Lake improves to
Sorry about that, guys. A little technical difficulties. We getting it.
It's that battery.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep this one on standby.
All right. We got it. All right, guys. Sorry about that. We just long night. We having make sure the batteries and everything are coming up.
I don't know what just happened with the phone. I'm not sure what just happened with the phone. What's it look like on your end?
It turned, and then now it's back. You turn, and then now it's back. Turn.
Where are you now? Sideways?
Hang on, guys. We're trying to get our technical difficulties fixed. Sideways, upside down.
It's not working.
Huh?
It's not going back.
Let's see.
Let me try something.
It's upside down.
Yep, it's not working anymore.
Just put it straight.
No, it ain't working at all. It won't rotate. Nope.
Upside down. Well, it's facing that way now.
Oh, it's back.
You just turned it. Now it's back. Turning. And back.
And back.
Yeah.
I guess we're good.
All right, guys. Let us know if we kind of go crazy because we having some equipment difficulties.
Only at 1 a.m.
Only at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's so we're gonna kind of get through these and talk about a few other things, and then we're gonna get out of here too.
Lake Charles College Prep and Iowa.
Correct. Yeah. Volume's
Lake
good.
Charles College Prep and Iowa. We said Lake Charles College Prep still in the race, but they had to take care of business on tonight. Iowa, you want to set up a district championship with St. Louis? You go take care of business, Gary.
You
and
right.
then it's winner take all.
Right.
And Gary, the game lived up to the hype.
Right.
Final score: Iowa at home improves to 7-1 on the season with a 17-16 victory over Lake Charles College Prep. I'm thinking field goal. I don't know how this game ended, but 17 points, 2 touchdowns and a field goal, maybe?
Yeah, and then Iowa has good special teams too. I knew Lake Charles, this was going to be a great game. I thought Lake Charles College Prep was going to be a little bit too much, even at Iowa, but Iowa came out on top. Must have been a great defensive ball game.
Yes, indeed, my friend. Iowa St. Louis, get ready. District title.
Most definitely.
How about undefeated Vermilion Catholic Screaming Eagles, the number 1 ranked Screaming Eagles? Gary, they went down to Centerville this week. The score was 43-0. Let everyone know what that means now. Another shutout means what?
That means 23 out of 24 quarters that Vermilion Catholic's defense has shut their opponent out. They only have, in 24 quarters, they've only been scored on in 1, and that was 6.
6 points in the last 24 quarters. This Screaming Eagle team is primed to get back to New Orleans, Gary.
You better, I'm going to tell you right now, you better watch this team. They are smoking on all cylinders, or cooking, or firing, or whatever you want to call it. They are getting it, and I wouldn't want to play them. Not right now.
Next week, district title game, Vermilion Catholic, Central Catholic. If you are in the area, you better get there to witness this one in person.
Most
That
definitely.
stadium is going to be packed.
Correct.
Undefeated Welsh headed down to Lake Arthur. I heard it might have been a rivalry game on Friday night when these two teams clash. Both teams want the bragging rights for the year.
Mm-hmm.
They would have to go out and earn it. Well, on Friday night, the Greyhounds would go earn it, Gary.
They earned it big time.
Big time offensive explosion. The Greyhounds take down Lake Arthur 59-13 to improve to 7-0 on
8-0
the
now.
season. That first week did not
Oh,
count.
so it's 7.
7-0 on the season. And Welsh, they are in that top 10 also, Gary.
Yep.
Keep a close eye on the Greyhounds moving forward, because the Pios and the Greyhounds,
They meet.
they will meet.
Right.
There's a lot of games
Yeah.
we can't wait for.
Right.
Next up, Mr. Swallow, it was the Kaplan Pirates versus the St. Martinville Tigers. We said it. Which St. Martinville team would show up this week? Would it be the team that struggled against a Notre Dame team earlier in the season at home, or would it be the St. Martinville team that would go and knock off the defending state champs last week of St. Charles at St. Charles? Gary, the good St. Martinville team showed up on Friday night, and it would have no problems with Kaplan, as they would roll at home. Final score 34-14. Tigers improved to 4-4 on the season.
Correct.
Eunice DeRitter. Two teams all too familiar with each other, get another shot at each other. But tonight, it will be the DeRitter show. Home win for DeRitter over Eunice tonight. Eunice wouldn't go quietly. They made this an interesting finish. Final score, DeRitter 49, Eunice 38, Gary.
Wow, that was a exciting ball club. A ball game. I wasn't sure about the Ritter. Hadn't heard anything, personally of how they're playing, but they must have been pretty taught to withstand Eunice, because Eunice is a good ball club.
Next up, it was Elton. It was Oberlin. Mr. Brendan said it was rivalry game night for these two teams. Elton playing better as of the last few years. Gary.
Correct. Yeah.
You knew it. If they were ever going to go knock off an Oberlin team, it would be this year.
Right.
Whew. Eunice gave up 450 on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
We said it.
My God.
If Elton was ever going to go knock off Oberlin, it would be this year, because of how special that Indian football team is this year.
Right.
But, Gary, Oberlin as they would take care of business at home, 35-22. A lot closer than a lot of people expected.
Right, you're right on that.
So Oberlin moves to 6-2 on the season.
Mm-hmm.
Elton falls to 4-4.
Correct.
How about this next game, Gary? Sam Houston and Karen Crow at the Crow Dome tonight.
Right.
And we talked about basketball scores earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And this would fall right under that category. Nobody likes to play defense anymore, Gary.
No, it seems like they just score points and try to outscore each other, and whoever's on top can win.
Whoever gets a stop at the end
Right,
could win the football game after 70 points later.
right.
Karen Crow at the Crow Dome. Big offensive night, 72-55. The Crow got to clean it up on defense
Oh,
if they
yeah.
want to make a run in this Division I
Yeah.
bracket.
If they want to win in this division, they need to make sure that they clean up that defense, and they got to be able to stop some people. But hey, open air Crow Dome, the offense was going.
Next up, how about Catholic Appointed and St. Ed's? St. Ed's is senior night this week, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Catholic Appointed coming off of a loss. That's not good.
No, it's not good to
That's
face
not
them
good
after
to
a loss.
face them after a loss. Catholic Appointed rolled tonight 47-14. Coach Vinny got his guys back on track this week, and the offense looked like it might have played some error-free football tonight.
Right.
Next matchup, Gary, Abbeville and ERAV meeting for a key district matchup.
Didn't see this one coming.
Abbeville trying to set up a winner-take-all against St. Martinville next week, but ERAF had other plans tonight. ERAF at home, and I think this was senior night. Those seniors go out with a big-time win over Abbeville, 31-21. Not sure
Wow.
what happened in this one, Gary. We talked about that defense being legit from Abbeville.
Right.
And the ERAF, their passing attack must have had some good things happen tonight.
Must have, because I tell you what, that's when you told me the score, I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me, and because I mean we've seen Abbeville's defense personally,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, oh my God, their defense is stout. So ERAF must have been clicking a little bit tonight.
Yeah. These next three matchups, all 5-2, playing against each other. Neville moves to 6-2 over Tioga, 43-7 win tonight. Shout out to Mr. Shelby and that Neville broadcasting crew.
Right.
General Trask, big win over Valdelia tonight. They moved to 6-2 in the year, 58-22. Trask, they score a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
And Homer, coming off of a loss last week, shutout at home. They would respond in a big way tonight, 43-6 over Arcadia. Arcadia was undefeated 2 weeks ago, Gary. They're on a two-game losing streak.
Right. That's, that just shows you that, you know, as the season goes, you start going against other, some of the district powerhouses and stuff like that. Sometimes those losses come up quick.
How about Dunham and East Feliciana? East Feliciana got that big tight end on that football team. Could he be a factor in this one? Dunham got that transfer quarterback in.
Right.
So these two teams, key players on both sides. But tonight, it would be Dunham on the road, 41-32 final
Wow.
score. What a win!
That's put up some good points, and like you said, they're scoring. These offenses are scoring points. But even in a loss, that's a pretty good showing.
Your traditional defensive teams have pretty much went away.
Yeah, most of the high-powered teams that we see these days are all, high scoring.
Here's a defensive team for you. Cedar Creek, they love to play defense up north.
Yes, they do.
They would have to run into a Ouachita Christian tonight, though, and that Ouachita Christian football team,
That's
when
good.
they are clicking on all cylinders, they're hard to beat. It looks like they were clicking tonight. They roll at home 34-10, Gary.
Yeah, Ouachita Christian's going to be in the mix when it comes playoff time. Most definitely.
Definitely. How about Union Parish and Richwood meeting up on the gridiron for a key district matchup tonight? Richwood looked like they were ready for the Trey Holly show tonight.
Right. They made it difficult. They made it a good game.
They really made this a good game. They either went for 2 in the win or they missed the extra point, Gary.
Yeah, one or the other.
One or the other, because Union Parish survives a close victory tonight. Richwood tried to go upset the Formers tonight, fall 1 point short. Union Parish 21, Richwood 20. Union
Right.
Parish, by the skin of their teeth, moved to 7-1 on the season.
Correct. But they're still a good ball club.
Really
you
good
know,
ball club.
I'd hate. I
Sometimes
would not.
these games happen.
Yeah, I just wouldn't like to play them come playoff time. They're going to be awesome. The Ruse next.
How about the Ruse? 6-1 on the season, taking on Slaughter Community Charter, also 6-1 on the
Right.
season. Kentwood 20, Slaughter 6. A lot closer than a lot of people thought.
Right. The Ruse are hard to beat, man.
Slaughter must have a good defense to keep
Right.
the Ruse only down to 20.
Right. You know, that's amazing in itself. But Kentwood is always strong.
Yes. E.D. White also strong, as they would welcome in. They would head down to Berwick
Berwick, yeah.
tonight. 6-1 team versus 6-1 team, and E.D. White, fresh off of playing for the state title last year, correct?
Okay.
45-21 victory tonight for E.D. White. That is a 7-1 really good football
Yeah,
team.
that's, you know, they got a bad taste in their mouth from not winning it last year.
Right.
And they're going to do everything in their power to try to get there again. So look out for E.D. White.
LCA and Westgate meeting up tonight in a pivotal district matchup. At some point in the preseason, we said this could be your district championship game, but boy, were we way off.
Yeah, we were.
LCA looking to bounce back after last weekend's heartbreaker of a loss to Turlings.
Right.
It would be senior night from the Knight Stadium, and the Knights would send off their seniors in a really good way. Gary, LCA, their seniors will play some more football on that field. But senior night tonight against the defending state champs, 35-6. That defense from LCA put on a clinic tonight.
That's what I'm saying. They had a bad taste in their mouth from that heartbreaking loss on that Hail Mary. You know, you talk Turlings Christian, you know, Turlings Catholic, LCA Christian. You know, Hail Mary pass at the end of the game that just basically cost them. Great win for LCA. That's all I can say. Great win.
When you needed to bounce back, they bounced back in a big way.
Right.
How about Southside Acadiana meeting up last year? This was your district title game, and this year, this is your district title game
I think so.
because, and we've talked about this matchup, Gary, there is a new big dog in the neighborhood.
Oh, right. I mean, Coach Fontenot at Southside has taken a young fledgling school and made it into a power in not that long of a time. I mean, you know, now they've always had the Acadianas, Lafayette High, you know, Karen Crow, and all, you know, all of the Lafayette area, the powerhouses. Well, guess what? They got another one. and it's a young baby. It's like a young baby brother coming up that's starting to, get his bearings. Southside made a statement tonight.
A statement indeed. We say fear to veer. Well, fear to veer got stopped tonight.
Yes, they did. I'd have never thought that they would have stopped them the way they did and held them to the points that they did tonight.
The Sharks on the road take down the Wrecking Rams at Bill Dotson Stadium. Final score, Southside 22, Acadiana 7, New Kings.
It's amazing how St. Thomas More can just keep
Restart it.
on. Huh?
Restart that sentence.
It's amazing that St. Thomas More.
We got to talk about the game over because nobody heard it.
Okay. Oh, this has been a. It says out again.
Yeah, that's why I'm plugging in.
Okay. Well, look, get that green card.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
Just pull it. It should go.
Look, that's it.
Okay. So what? Grab the extension cord.
No, I'm gonna just move it right here. Just like that, Mr. Swallow.
Okay.
Plugged in.
Can y'all hear me now, guy?
Just look this way, Gary, and talk
All right.
and talk loud.
St. Thomas More and Turlings, they've been rivals and they've played each other for quite a long time.
Let me restart.
And I'll let Jordy to kind of take over on that.
So like we said, Gary. Like we said, Gary, you talk about to be a rivalry, you have to stay consistent on beating each other, correct?
Correct.
And also, St. Thomas More has owned this rivalry as of late.
Yeah.
And could Turlings finally get that monkey off of their back and finally take down the Cougars? If there was ever a year, Gary,
Right.
It was this year.
This year, Turlings, especially after that big win last week over LCA, with their momentum, keep them going and be strong enough to conquer the big dog in the room in St. Thomas More. That was the question. We all thought it was possible.
This is one of their better teams. In a long time.
But
standing in their way from their goals,
right,
is that Cougar football team.
And the number one ranked Turlings, Catholic team, they went, wanted the St. Thomas More to come in there and actually, get a chance to beat them for the first time in many years
at their home field.
At their home field. Would it happen?
Gary, Turlings just on the outside tonight. That rivalry will still have another year with STM's name on it. Final score, Cougars go on the road and knock off the Red Hot Rebels 35-24. to 30. Oh, what a game that must have been. Oh, what an atmosphere that must have been. Because
Right.
those two teams are separated less than 10 minutes away.
When you are that close and have been competing against each other for that long, you know, rivalries are going to be there. But Turlings had a chance to stop STM and give the ball back, and STM geared it down and got a first down right at the end. We were listening to it
On the way here.
on the way here, and they just couldn't stop them. It's like they rose to the occasion and said, "Oh no, little brother, I'm still here," and they went through it. So that was an exciting ball game. Turlings next year maybe. Sorry to see your first loss of the year, but you know STM just a little too strong today.
And don't count out a potential rematch in the playoffs.
Oh, that's almost
It's
that could be a guarantee, depending on the brackets.
where these two teams fall. We're almost certain we will see a new number one team going into next week. So, will it be STM that makes the leapfrog to one?
We don't know. We don't know.
So we'll see. Congratulations to St. Thomas More, 35-30. What a win! What a game!
Yes, sir.
St. Aug, John Curtis will play tomorrow for a big one there. And St. Aug go on the road to take down John Curtis. John Curtis, one of their best starts in the last 5 to 10 years.
Right. A couple weeks ago, they took down Acadiana. You know, their veer was better than Acadiana's veer that day.
Yep. Last game to talk about, Gary, is the one we cover tonight.
Right.
6-1 Cecilia, ranked 11th in the state, coming in to Donald Gardner Stadium to a 6-1 Opelousas High football team. Gary, OHS off to a really hot start in the game, jumped out to 14-0.
Correct.
And then here things kind of went backwards.
Right.
A big momentum switch when the snap went over the punter's head for a safety.
Correct. I was shocked because I felt that the punter could have gotten to it and at least tried to run or be elusive, but he grabbed the ball and literally fell in the end zone. And I was like, oh, I think he could have, evaded, but maybe it was the rush of the moment or whatever. But that turned the momentum around real fast. And we talked about it. Cecilia has a good ball club.
They lived
yeah.
on the big play tonight.
They lived on the big play, but they also lived on the trick play.
Mm-hmm.
They scored twice on trick plays.
And a fourth down
Yeah.
or third and short on a trick play.
On a trick play. It was unbelievable. It's like, what we thought, okay, what are they going to pull out in the bag next?
Gary, they tried another trick play, but OHS was ready for it on that fake punt.
Right, they did, and that was. I don't want to say I wouldn't have done that, but I wouldn't have done that. But that's why they pay them the big bucks to think about all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great ball game. OHS has a very talented, very strong ball club. The only thing and we talked about this on the show, penalties. They had a lot of unnecessary penalties, and it was a lot of dead fall. I know coaches, he was prancing and throwing his little flag, and dead ball penalties, false starts and stuff like that can kill you in a ball game, can kill you in your run in the playoffs. Could they overcome that? And they did. They overcame it. But their defense had to rise to the occasion to stop Cecilia, because Cecilia was getting the momentum. It was a momentum switch back and forth.
Yeah.
It was a great ball game to watch.
A double pass scored for Cecilia. Right. Oh,
hook and lateral, hitch and pitch, you used to call it. Oh my God.
The freaking timing on those two plays. Boy, they must practice that a lot.
A lot. It was unbelievable. But the Tigers, they rose to the occasion. I've got to tell you this. I'm so proud of Opelousas High School for what they're achieving right now, what they're accomplishing. And we were talking about this earlier. I'm so happy to see our local schools doing so well. Opelousas Catholic, so good how they're strong. And I mean, and from two Port Barre guys, that's hard to say. Opelousas Catholic, doing so well. But, in realist, we joke a lot on all that, but in real time, you have two local teams that are doing so good, and Opelousas High School is the big dog. And they're doing really well. So all I can say is I'm proud of what they did, and they proved that they're on top right now.
Very much so. Title contenders this
Right.
year. It's never too early to talk about it.
They're guaranteed a split. If they win next week, I think we're talking, Chris said that earlier, if they win next week, they're going to be outright. So, I mean, it couldn't happen. Like I said, the work's not finished. You still got to go out and do it again and do it again. This is, don't let this win, get you too high. Stay down and be humble and keep getting hungry every week. And then that way you can do it. But this week, this was the game.
This is the game that everybody talked about,
Yeah.
and it lived up to the hype.
Yeah, it definitely did. Definitely did. Final score was
It came down to 4th down, Gary.
right.
And what an open field tackle from a defense that just played phenomenal all night. Besides getting burnt on the trick plays, they didn't allow much all night.
No, they kept everything in front of them. I'll be honest with you. I looking at it, OHS's defensive line controlled that line of scrimmage, and just dominated the game. And their offense controlled the line also, but every once in a while, Cecilia would clog it up. But man, they have some athletes on that team, and they are young athletes, sophomores and juniors. Man, I can't wait to see them play as juniors and seniors. Can you imagine that?
Could you imagine?
That's awesome.
Final score, Cecilia falls on the road to Opelousas High, 21-16. Gary, another turning point in this game.
Right.
The Hail Mary right before half.
Right. Oh my God. Yes.
You don't get that, and the score. Well, it changes your mindset of how you
Right.
approach the game, but it's 14-16 right here.
Right.
If you don't go get that before the half.
Correct. And that was the offensive player went up, and the offensive player and the defensive player both had their hands on the football, Jordy. And when they went down to the ground, the offensive player just pulled it away.
Makai Jones.
Makai did a great job on that.
What a game.
Gotta say awesome. And like I said, congratulations, OHS Tigers. Great victory tonight.
Great victory indeed. Can't wait to see where this team will land in the playoffs. Gary, I'm thinking first round bye.
Oh, I've got, yes.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure where they will be 1 through 4, but I'm thinking they might be off week 11.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I would say definitely. If they're not, I would be very surprised.
They would take an upset these next 2 weeks.
Right, most definitely.
All right, time to give out some helmet stickers, games of the nights, upsets of the night, and UTL statement wins of the night. Gary, go for it.
Okay, helmet stickers. First thing I want to do, my first one is definitely Opelousas High School, OHS Tigers, for doing an awesome job tonight, taking care of business, doing what they got to do. The Welsh Greyhounds, everybody was talking about different things about Welsh. We've had a couple people say, oh, well, they might not be. Welsh is back, and Welsh is playing on all cylinders. I want them. Vermilion Catholic, the Screaming Eagles, I think they're going to be one of the best teams, if not the best team in the state going into the playoffs. And the statement game that we talked about tonight, St. Thomas More Cougars, I think they deserve a helmet sticker for that big victory over Turtles.
Opelousas High definitely deserves a helmet sticker tonight. ERAF with a big win over
I
Abbeville.
thought about them too.
Big time helmet sticker tonight. Iowa setting up a
Yeah.
district championship game next week by knocking off Prep in a close victory. They earn a helmet sticker, and St. Thomas More in a thrilling victory when a lot of people counted you out all week against this Turtles football team. Helmet sticker goes to St. Thomas More. Games of the night, Gary.
Well, I got a couple of them, and we talked OHS Cecilia. I think that was a game of the night. Madison Prep and Warren Easton. I think that was a game of the night. Carroll and Franklin Parish. I think that was a real good one. And Neville and Tioga. There were some ones local, but those to me stood out.
Okay.
You know, on those.
OHS over Cecilia earns game of the night. St. Thomas More over Turlings, the way that one finished. Iowa over Lake Charles College Prep, 17-16 there. Northwest over Pine Prairie, 36-33 there.
Yeah, most definitely.
Union Parish over Richwood, 21-20. All game of the nights for sure.
All definitely good ones.
Upset of the night, Gary, who you got?
Southern Lab over Oils. Not necessarily that it was an upset, but the point margin. I think that was an upset in my eyes. Let's see. East Bow over Laurelville. I was pushing a lot for Laurelville. I thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be able to handle that. St. Martinville over Kaplan, and Erath over Abbeville.
All right, my friend. Erath over Abbeville also for me. Ascension Episcopal over Laurelville. Franklin over Catholic in New Iberia. And Livonia over Crawley.
Yeah,
It's
that's all
my
good ones.
upsets of the night. UTL statement wins of the night, Gary.
St. Thomas More, Southside, LCA, and OHS. Those victories.
Southside over Acadiana. Central Catholic with a blowout win over Hanson Memorial.
Right.
An undefeated Hanson Memorial. St. Thomas More over Turling, still the big dog.
Right.
Carroll over Franklin Parish.
Yeah.
That was a big time blowout win.
Right.
Southern Lab over Avoyles, statement win because of how they won.
Correct. And upsets and statements. I think it's the same thing, but kind of close. But same game. You know.
Yes. Let's take a look at week 9 before we close this one out. Here's some good ones going into week 9 next week. Notre Dame Grand Lake next week.
Oh, great.
Iowa St. Louis for the district title next week. Rose Pine and Avoyles for the district title next week.
Wow.
Richwood and Carroll next week. Amite and Sterlington play next week.
Wow.
Acadiana and Carencro meet next week.
That's going to be an interesting ball game.
Homer and Glenbrook meet for the district title next week. Destrehan versus East St. John next week. Both teams are 8-0.
That is going to be awesome. That's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight right there.
St. Mary's versus Logansport next week. Oak Grove versus General Trask next week, Gary.
Wow, that is going to be a good ball game.
Kentwood versus Southern Lab next
Ooh.
week. The Roos versus
The
the Kittens, huh?
Yeah. Man.
Yes.
Now they playing at in Baton Rouge, or are they playing in Kentwood?
I believe it's in Baton Rouge.
Oh.
Berwick versus St. James next week. Sacred Heart versus OC next week. Westgate versus St. Thomas More. Central Catholic versus Vermilion Catholic for the district title. That is
Man.
a look at next week.
Talk about some great ball games coming up there, Jordy.
Gary Swallow, close week 8 out for us, my friend.
Man, Jordy, I can tell you, great games, great excitement, a lot of upsets, but also a lot of games that we thought were going to go down to the wire that did. Week 8 was was just what we expected and more. And I can't wait for week 9.
Can't wait for week 9 for sure. Congratulations to all the teams that won tonight. And congratulations to our player of the game from OHS, Mr. Ford, number 22.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, week 8, close the door. 8 weeks have come and gone already, Gary.
Man, like I said, it's going too fast, Jordy. Going too fast.
For sure. Week 9, we are in for a treat. Come Sunday, we should have an idea of where we're going, because as of right now,
We don't know.
we have to decide on where to head. But as of now, we say good night from Opelousas, Louisiana, and we will see you at the Wednesday night sit-down show. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. See y'all later.